Welcome to Basically Sci-Fi, the short story podcast with stories you can basically call sci-fi. I'm the new boy, Adam.
And I'm Todd.
And I'm Jared. And today we are back to the prompts Entropy and Genetic Modification. Except I misheard, and so I wrote Atrophy and Genetic Modification.
Many people don't know that atrophy and entropy are basically the same thing.
Yeah, in a way.
I mean, yeah, it was obviously super important that it was entropy for my story, since they were going to cause the heat death of the universe, because that's what Wikipedia said.
You could cause the slow decay of the universe's muscles as well.
Yeah.
Roll the universe over and clean its bed sores.
I didn't go for atrophy in the physical sense, but the more of a societal atrophy.
Spoilers.
It's not. It's not explicitly stated, so I figured I should explain that fact before anyone forgets what the prompt is.
Sounds pretty.
That's right. The prompts were, so you're doing atrophy and genetic modifications. As usual, the prompts don't really do anything other than make sure that we've set ourselves on a course that we maybe normally wouldn't go on as writers. So it helps a little bit that way, but not that there's any strict rules. Nobody's getting fired from the podcast for using the wrong prompts.
I hope not, given that we aren't doing them anymore. But after one episode from now?
Yeah. Yep. So enjoy your prompts while you can, dear listeners.
And if you want us to bring them back, let us know. We can do that.
That's right. In the comments where you like and comment and subscribe on some comments.
Or email us at basicallysci-fi.puppies.supplies
at gmail.com.
Yeah. We got it. No one else was in line for the hot property that is the Basically Sci-Fi Gmail account. Yeah. That's us, baby.
Yeah. Who would have thought that shit?
What's your inspiration?
I mean, I've been reading a lot of Terry Pratchett recently.
Right.
Oh yeah, I love his asides.
The one I'm reading right now is it's called Witches Abroad, and it's about like three witches traveling to confront another witch who's obsessed with fairy tales.
Uh-huh.
And so they, like, the whole journey to confront this other witch, they're running into bastardizations of fairy tales and different stories involving various witches and whatnot. Like, I just got to a part where a house lands on one of their heads, and then a bunch of dwarves show up, and they're asking if they can have her shoes. Just like in reference to Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
It's real bizarre, and I've been really enjoying his work recently, probably pulling some sort of inspirations from that. But
I love his Commander Vime stuff, and I really love the Rincewind stuff.
Yeah, the first couple Discworld books with the Rincewind were really good. Yeah,
the Sorcerer and Lost Continent. Interesting Times.
Yeah.
They're all good. Every one of them's good. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, I've always from the beginning, like I've listened to your stories, and I'm like, the influence is pretty clear.
Yeah, I've read all of not all of Terry Pratchett's work, but all of, like, why do names not stay in my head? Douglas Adams. I've read all of his books, like even down to the like Last Chance to See, which is basically a compilation of articles he wrote about endangered species, but I've always pulled a lot of inspiration from him or both of them. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, when you find that, like, that narrative style that suits your voice, like, you know, you've got your foundation there, and then you develop your own craft from there. That's what everyone does, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take your inspirations, and then you use them, and you stuff them into that story.
Yeah.
You stuff them into the crusty sock that is your own story.
But you also have your own voice, and that's fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's hear that voice. Let's hear a story about atrophy and genetic modifications.
All right. And I gotta think up a title for the story real quick because I forgot to do that. All right, I got something.
All right.
It's far too long for a short story title, and that is perfect.
As long as it's as long as the first paragraph, then you're fine.
Yeah. All right. So this one is called "The Degradation of a Society" or whatever.
Yeah, man, this sounds like it's gonna be deep.
It's not.
Did you write the Joker?
Yep. Just go watch the Joker, and we'll see you next time. No.
Oh my God.
So this is the first part to what's going to end up being a longer story. Glenn, with 3 N's, and Glenda, also 3 N's, were working on the space station Pleborica 6. It was a deep space research station, and most of the crew were scientists working on the cutting edge of genetic manipulation research. It was best to keep this research on the edges of space because it's quite dangerous and somewhat immoral. So, out of sight, out of mind, I suppose. And any of the particularly bad fuck-ups could be taken care of long before they ever made it back to populous space. Of course, distance is relative to your actual location. While Pleborica was well outside of the consciousness of the galactic hub, but it had been placed in the orbit of a small, habitable planet where the crew and employees would be able to vacation. The company that decided on the location had made one barely substantial mistake, however. The planet was in fact already inhabited. Yes. Dramatic sigh. Thank you.
Gasp. Hold on, let me do one more
Gasp,
take.
rather.
Is that obviously an inhale?
Yeah. Like that, I think.
Probably. They weren't an advanced population, but they were far enough along that the appearance of a space station in orbit wasn't just put to the gods fucking about. The locals had decided to levy a tax for the use of their space in orbit, and so, once a year, the station sent down a couple of workers with a bunch of worthless, antiquated technology to impress and stave off the locals' endless desire for flashy new tech they could use to impress their friends. Glenda was in charge of delivering the tax to people around the planet. The selection was random to prevent favoritism, and keeping the locals hopelessly guessing as to the reasoning behind the selections was beneficial because it distracted them from thinking about whether they were actually benefiting from all the payments. Glenn was Glenda's hapless assistant in all things. He was no good at his job, often being quite helpful.
What?
Oh, because bureaucrats are supposed to be
that right?
unhelpful.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, exactly. The assistants should just be in the way. Otherwise, how are they an assistant character? Right?
Okay.
It was Glenn who had been managing the randomness of the selections, choosing an algorithm that picked people based on region, age, height, length of last name, and potential for misuse or misunderstanding of the uses of the given technology.
That last one seems harder to calculate.
Yeah, you would think so.
I'm not a maths wizard.
He would then take the person selected and give it to their neighbor. It seemed like a perfect method, and for the first 10 years or so it was, until one day they were searching out the recipients and found that no one on the planet was out and about doing their jobs, taking a walk, annoying service industry workers, or even just congregating to conspire against the government. Glenda was immediately concerned, but just assumed they were all busy. Maybe it was a holiday or something. She went to the local government office, not expecting to find anyone given that politicians everywhere loved them a holiday. To her surprise, it was the only building around that had anyone in it. There was a good deal of shouting and rushing about by the elderly statesmen and women. It took a few minutes to draw anyone's attention. But finally, a wizened old man came up and said, "Oh, it's you. You see all the trouble your technology is causing around here? Glenn, this sounds remarkably like you have fucked up. Deal with this, please. I assure you it wasn't me or my algorithms, but all right. Sir, what seems to be the problem? The last shipment you sent has completely halted our societal productivity." I should take this time to explain that the inhabitants of this planet had lost almost all of their own culture and had become obsessed with the aliens doing whatever it was that got done up there. How has it done that? Glenn figured it would be easier to get them to explain what was going on than to go on some whimsical journey to find out himself.
Was that like the plot line that you had written out?
No. I was considering it, but
Yeah.
I think I changed my mind pretty quickly and wrote that line instead.
Yep.
Which is good. It's fine.
It's a little joke just for the writer.
I probably didn't need to write that line. The telecommunications hand communicator you sent down has made people lazier than ever. They sit at home all day, pontificate on their social medias while ignoring all duty and responsibility. It has made everyone, except us elderly folks who can't figure out the technology, functionally useless.
Oh my god, take that, millennials.
Yeah. Now, as leader of this once glorious planet, I demand you fix it. I don't see what the problem is. Are these people not happy with the tech? Glenn asked. It's not that. It's that the tech works too well. There's no need for anyone to leave their house if they weren't genuinely interested in their work before. Realizing the glaring plot hole here, I should say money is not part of the planet's economy. Rather, services are.
I was gonna say something.
So goods ended up being traded for acknowledgement on social media, and other than politicians messing about, the entire planet had come to a halt. Glenn had a plan, though. What if we introduce currency to the economy and force these people to work? No, we tried that, but people saw through it and exterminated the politicians that tried to implement it.
Oh god.
Jesus.
Which the rest of us agree was the correct move. Money just makes people horrible. Or it is the horrible people that are able and willing to accrue it, at least.
I think both.
Yeah, probably.
If you stumble into it, you become horrible. If you already have it, then you are horrible. And if you're horrible, you can get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can't get it,
now you can?
then X gonna give it to you.
Ah, okay.
Oh, come on, man. I have one joke.
You never
I
know
say.
if it's gonna be. You never know if it's gonna be X or Biggie.
Well, they're basically the same.
But it's always one of them. Okay, Glenda interrupted. She was tired of the talking and wanted to take things into her own hands. How about we alter the genetic makeup of the people so that they feel compelled to go to work every once in a while? The elderly statesman thought about it for a while. It seemed immediately like a terrible idea. People don't like having their genetics fucked about with unwittingly. It is possible they could sell it as a for the good of the people movement, but then they ran the risk of people noticing that, on the whole, they didn't like each other very much. So he decided on the last best option. Well, if all else fails, how about we start a fake war?
Yeah.
Glenda was surprised, but ultimately politicians are all the same everywhere. Yeah, that could work. A good social conflict is always likely to get the blood flowing. What did you have in mind? Well, if we use your gene modifiers to turn our elderly, tech-resistant population into super soldiers, and provoke them into taking a city for themselves to inhabit, that seems like a solution that could never go wrong. Glenn is always up for a good mucking about with super soldier serums. The plan was set. Glenn returned to the space station and went about his work. And now cue a montage that no one ever wanted or asked for, in which we see Glenn taking various animals and smashing them into people to see what happens. Interspersed with shots of bubbling beakers and colored fluids and test tubes. A few too many shots of small explosions knocking him over, and even more gratuitous shots of him bending over lab tables provocatively. And then finally, a eureka moment, as he drains the blood from a bear and mixes it with dragon's teeth and boils the concoction with phoenix flames. And lastly, adds a not too small amount of lead. He takes the mixture and injects it into an old lady, who instantly becomes young and super strong, and she rips off the head of the first robot assistant she saw and ate it.
Jeez.
Oh no.
Yeah, it sounds like that was perfect.
We've had a breakthrough, people, Glenn said. Excellent. When can we deploy our new citizens on the other ones? Well, in order for you to take control, you'll need to be injected yourself. Otherwise, they are likely to immediately turn on you. Yeah, that sounds fine. The elder statesman was restrained so that he could burst out of the restraints when he transformed, and then injected. The reaction was immediate. He grew twice his original height, developed huge teeth and an elongated snout as he dramatically broke out of the restraints as planned. And he said, "Well, that's not nearly as satisfying as I thought it would be. Let's get going on the other transformations." The scientists set about their work, and in a couple of days, they had an army of once elderly super soldiers waiting to go to war. Until, that is, late one afternoon, some of the soldiers had found a phone, and they were playing around with an app where you can only talk to other people with caps lock on. In order to best convey your anger or enthusiasm. and they suddenly realized that rather than filling them with wild bloodlust as phones once had, the serum had just made them less stubborn and more likely to accept potential benefit from the technology, like getting overexcited about stupid shit on the internet.
Okay.
Glenn and Glenda decided that this was for the best, and they returned to the station to get working on their usual projects. Though now, Glenn had become obsessed with the idea that he could perfect this serum and turn anyone into a super soldier. So he set about creating his own personal army. Next time.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought so too.
I that's what I love about your stories is how, I mean, everything in the universe is so pointless, and like they're presented with a problem.
Welcome to my life.
They're presented with a problem, and they're like, let's make lateral changes. Like,
Yeah, they're not.
Everyone's
They're
bored.
not fixing anything. They're damaging the people that think there's a problem until they don't think there's a problem anymore.
Yeah. It feels almost like Russian a little bit. It reminds me of like Russian writing, where it's like, this is shit, everything's shit, doesn't matter, don't work harder.
Is that really what Russian writing is like?
Jesus.
I feel like that's what people's description of it would be like on the internet.
So have you read the Brothers Krasnov?
There's some Russian writing like that.
Okay.
But...
Is it Dostoevsky is like that, isn't he?
Oh man, you name dropping people that I should know. Did he write that one?
I really read any Dostoevsky, but
Did he write that one about the axe?
I thought he wrote the one about the brothers.
I mean, two brothers.
The three brothers and the really drunk dad.
The three brothers.
Two brothers.
I can't honestly say as I've ever read any Dostoevsky, but
I fucking tried to read Brothers Krasnov, and I got like 50 pages in, and then I had to put it down. I couldn't finish it.
Okay.
It's so depressing. And then Haruki Murakami kind of touches on that stuff in Hard-Boiled Wonderland, where he draws heavily from the Brothers Krasnov, and actually the main character, it's his favorite book, and he references it all the time. And the whole book is literally just about like all like lateral changes and like nothing ever improving.
I don't know if that's like Japanese, but it's like they can't just reference something without someone literally going, "This is from that."
Yeah,
I mean, like in that story.
I've noticed that in a lot of things recently.
Yeah.
Like, rather than referencing something and leaving it, they reference it and then they're like, "Hey, I am referencing this.
Yeah.
Do you understand that I am?" It's a J.J. Abrams tactic. Like, he'll reference 600 things in a movie so that you understand that he wants to reference something.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah. J.J. Abrams.
I don't know.
Well, the references in the Murakami work is kind of like Frankenstein, where like in Frankenstein actually reads Paradise Lost, and then he comments on it. It's how Murakami handles it. He actually reads Brothers Krasnov and comments on it, like in the story.
Okay. Yeah, definitely not just Japanese then. Just that's the only media I consume recently, so.
Ooh. It's more of a JoJo's reference where you just
yeah.
What are you talking about? Everything is a JoJo's reference.
I know.
And JoJo references everything ever related to music, so
it does that too. And also things that are like, I don't know. But yeah, just everything. Anyway, JoJo's is a reference.
Anyways.
He's a meme lord.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, segue. Adam, did you have any specific comment about his story to lead to the next talking point?
To lead to the next talking point, we just commented on the lateral movement is an interesting concept. Right. I don't feel like a lot of Western writers usually use that as a motif. So I'm interested to see where that's gonna go. I'm loving the asides. Very, very Pratchett-esque of you.
Yeah. No, I've always done that with my writing. Like, even since before I really read any Terry Pratchett, I've always liked the aside to make a joke, essentially, or
narrator kind of breaking the fourth wall.
To draw on something.
One of your favorite jokes or one of my favorite jokes from your story that really hit me was where you're like, all the elderly super soldiers, and then you say, late one afternoon discovered an app, and I'm like, late one afternoon, like, I don't know. That was obviously important information.
Yeah, because
so
bedtime.
It's not something that hits me with the gut punch, but it. When I think about it, I'm like, that's very stupid, very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought so.
Yeah.
That's most of my writing is just to try and make myself kind of giggle at something stupid.
Oh man, and that's what's wrong with YouTube reaction videos. They're making you misthink how human reactions are supposed to be. You can't every time be like, that joke is hilarious. Sometimes you just kind of giggle to yourself.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, oh,
yeah,
that's funny, and like you just say, just say that's funny, and like you just keep going.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, and I would watch or listen to it again later so that I could also go, huh.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
That's what I do with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
What?
Just love them.
Man, I haven't seen that in ages.
It's the funniest thing that I've never laughed at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you should check it out. It's really good.
Yeah. It's obviously about the characters from Hamlet and like what they're doing when Hamlet's off being Hamlet. But yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah.
Is that a movie?
I don't know. It is also, but it was a stage play.
It's stage play, yeah.
Yeah.
That got there's at least one film version.
The movie I watched had Gary Oldman in it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was awesome.
He's a real old man.
Yeah, no, like I said, I haven't seen that since college. That's a good one.
Yeah. Good luck. Like, it's like I would love to sit down with someone and be like, watch this, it'll change your life. And then they do, and they're like, when is it gonna get funny?
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. No,
it changed my life.
It's ridiculous.
Changed my life.
It's a good comedy that doesn't need to be like modern comedies where like nobody's gonna shit in a sink and
milk someone's
no one's gonna point and laugh at them for it.
Yeah, it's definitely not a it's hot tub time travel comedy. Wedding crashers.
Yeah,
but anyway, that's where I'm coming from as far as comedy goes. But I also write dick jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a good dick every now and then.
Exactly. I don't know how many times I've said that verbatim in my stories.
Yeah. Quite a few times.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited for our next bunch of stories, which will be featuring Adam.
Coming in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you two picked the prompts for the coming episodes.
We did. That's right.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell them?
So, my prompt for next time was rocks.
And my prompt was magnetism.
Which is one of those ones that I feel like sounds planned. I don't know. Like magnetic rocks. But again, it's not. I just tried to think of the most scientific thing I could.
You know, rocks aren't particularly magnetic for the most part, but...
I mean, like a magnet is basically a sticky rock.
yeah.
Christ.
A rock covered in honey is also a sticky
metals
rock.
and rocks, same thing, right?
Yep. I mean, who even knows how they work?
I mean, they are basically tiny miracles.
I mean, we know that ICP doesn't. So.
And that they also actively are not interested in finding out.
No, it's all magic to them.
Miracles.
What is it? Air, water, fire, earth. Fucking magnets.
Rocks.
How do they work?
And heart.
That's like a great... I just fucking love that rhyme. That's like... It's like some shit that like a middle schooler came up with.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a middle school education.
Oh, come on.
At most.
Well, you never know. I think Murderface Killer is actually a university graduate, but I'm not entirely sure.
And when he and...
An unaccredited university, though.
We're dropping names. He and Shaggy 2 Dope were doing their interviews after Columbine. I was like, they are making excellent points. It's not their fault. They're so well spoken, in addition to being clever rhymists.
Clever rhymists.
And clowns.
Fucking clown shoes, those two.
And fucking clowns.
But, anyways.
All right. Well then, we'll see you next time for some rocks and magnetism and some just the most basic sci-fi.
I hope you're ready to drink that fucking pumpkin spice latte, because it's gonna get basically sci-fi up in here.
Oh my god.
And on that note, like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.
See you.
Bye.